The 7 chimps that live here at the sanctuary, they're called the Cle Elum 7. They all came from the same laboratory, which was the Buckshire Corporation in Pennsylvania. And basically, Buckshire owned these chimps and would lease them out to other laboratories. And when chimp research fell out of fashion, when they realized they couldn't use chimps as a model for HIV, for example, laboratories were closing. No one wanted to lease these chimps anymore. And so they were left being warehoused in a basement with no sunlight, no access to fresh air for over a decade. To get the chimps out from Pennsylvania to Washington, we actually hired a professional animal transporter with the appropriate trailer. Keith, who was the founder of CSNW, and myself, we flew out to Pennsylvania, and we followed this trailer across the country, and it was a nonstop drive because we had to get the chimps out here as fast as possible because they were in tiny little cages on a trailer.
We really want to provide as much as we can for the group that we have here. I really don't know how you can look into the eyes of a chimpanzee and spend any amount of time with them and not think that it's unethical to use them. It's just, for me, it's not a question of is there anything valuable that we're getting out of their use. It's just wrong that we're putting them through that.
I think it starts with having empathy for chimps in general, and I think we're changing people's minds. The more people learn about chimps, the more they understand that they have emotions very similar to ours, and you see the position that they're put in. They were stolen from their families in Africa as infants. They were forced to dress up and entertain people. They were put in a small cage and poked and prodded. To me, it's hard to see how you couldn't do something about that. I think it's a social justice issue just as human issues are.
And so we're just trying to give them kind of a second chance on life and to be able to figure out who they are too. So I think, living a life of deprivation, they didn't really have a chance to figure out what they liked and, what their personalities really were. So we just are helping them do that and, providing them with things to do.
A lot of these laboratory chimps, they're so deprived in the laboratory. They don't have toys to play with. They don't have any soft materials to nest with. That they actually are scared of these things when they get to sanctuary. I mean, you have chimps that are scared to walk on the ground. They're used to concrete or they're used to aluminum bars. And so to step on grass is terrifying.
Once you understand one individual, then you can kind of get the picture of what's going on. Because Foxy's lucky that she's here. She could have spent the rest of her life in research. No one would have known her name. No one would have known what she was like. She wouldn't have even known that she likes troll dolls, She only had the opportunity here to figure that out.
I mean, for us, we do what we can. We're a young organization. We're pretty small. We're one of the smaller sanctuaries. So we're going to focus on taking care of a small number of chimps and doing it as best we can and really providing as good a home as we can.
I really wish there was a way we could take them back to where they belong in Africa, but there's not any way to do that. If you can imagine you just being thrown into a jungle, that is exactly what it would be for somebody like Jamie, who was raised as a human, basically, and then was kept in a small cage. She does not have the skills that she would need to survive.
With the chimps, one of the most amazing experiences of my life was seeing the response of chimps in a sanctuary to one of their friends that had passed away. So his body was actually left in the enclosure and opened up to the other chimps. And what we saw was basically a wake for chimpanzees. They came in about 2 at a time, sat with the body, groomed him, and then sort of, it's almost like they said their piece and then walked away. The Cle Elum 7 chimpanzees were owned by a private company, That company did not put any money aside for their retirement. They had no plan for what to do when the day came that they had no use for the chimps anymore.
For me personally, the biggest challenge is just financial, just, making sure that we have enough.
It's just incredibly expensive to build a good facility for chimps and to keep it running. And so what I think we've been pretty good at so far is doing a lot with a little. And we started very modestly. We're looking at these 7 chimps being stuck in a basement, and so anything is better than being in a basement with no windows.